Good morning. Welcome to the Pastor's Study today. May is upon us. Beautiful day coming up for us, going to be in the 60s again. We like that. The soaking rain yesterday most likely will feed the flower beds, and the flowers will really begin to blossom now, and that'll be a good thing. Not much news on the stage today. Still the restrictions and the adjustments are going on, and there's a little undercurrent going around in different places in the country. And I guess one other part of the country, some people armed have gone to the state house, and who knows what that's going to bring and such. Our daughter sent us an article from Germany yesterday that they're thinking about when they lift the restrictions that church people are going to have to wear masks and not sing to help prevent when they gather, no singing. I thought that was kind of odd. That what's next for us? It certainly is interesting that we are in these times, and as a church, we need the Lord's help right now, and we should be seeking Him. One of the things that I remember from my childhood was the home cooking. Mom had come off a farm, and they had both come out of the Depression, so they knew how to make a lot out of nothing. And so, and they both knew how to work, and work they did. And any day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mom would start cooking for supper, and she'd whip something up from scratch and make things. And on the weekends, she'd be baking pies, baking beans, baking bread, canning in the summertime, always canning, putting away the beets and things like that so that we would have stuff. And during those years, things began to change in our society from the home cooking to going to the store and buying what you need in cans or frozen vegetables. And I remember times that you'd have to stop by the store and pick up something because there was no time to do the cooking, or there was no time for that to happen. And so pretty soon, as we moved along, somebody invented TV dinners, and people were buying them in the droves. And I remember too that McDonald's came to town, the first one on Broadway, and man, you could get a cheeseburger for 19 cents and a Big Mac for 49 cents. And you could get it right now, and you could get it quick, and you could have it your way too, which was interesting. We made this transition from home cooking, family, to having it your way as fast as you want, and no holds barred kind of mentality. And we made that transition into the store-bought realm. And that's interesting. And we became dependent upon it. And two, microwaves came along, and all this stuff that seemed to make our life easier. But at the same time, it was moving us into a direction of dependency upon the things of the world versus our own ingenuity and our own work and our own ethic and stuff. And that has taken off and has swept the country in our day. In the 13th century, a man by the name of Eckhart von Hochheim, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that, but in the later 13th century, he wrote something. He was a Dominican, and in those days there was a conflict between the Dominicans and the Franciscans, just like any denominational problems. I mean, it was just going on. And he noticed something about the world in that day. And he says, man's taste has been so spoiled by feeding on earthly things that he cannot relish God's love. And if we love God, he goes on to say, if we love God, we would relish him in all that he is doing, and we would be satisfied in him. It's interesting that our wires can get crossed as Christians today, that we would be so grabbed onto the routine of having things our way or getting what we need at the store, and having that mentality set down into us. And even as a church, we have this mentality of having it our way. It's disturbing to think that today that's what it is, but we need to remember something today. Are we in a store-bought mentality, or are we blood-bought? And if we're blood-bought, there's a different set of standards that we know and that we live with and that we abide in. And over in 1 Corinthians, Paul writes, and then again in Romans, he writes in Romans 1 Corinthians 6 into 19 and 20. You're not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies. Bought with a price. Something bigger than the store-bought. It was a sacrifice of love by God. There was a purchase made with love. And it's something you can't get at a store. It doesn't fulfill you like a store or buying things at a store. It is a transformation. And then over in Romans, the 6th chapter, you have been set free from sin and have become slaves to righteousness. Slaves to the God who created you, willingly giving your lives over to him because we have been purchased by him. And then down in Romans 6:22, but you have been set free and have become slaves of God, and the benefit you reap leads to holiness and godliness, and the result is the eternal life. Today, are we so spoiled by our wants and wishes and living in our wants and wishes so much that it seems natural for us to try to fight to maintain a status quo? Are we so satisfied with the status quo that we can't hear, we can't see? Is this what is important to us? Are we store-bought? Do we have that store-bought mentality with that I need to have this, so I'm going in, I'm going to buy it today and it's mine? Or are we bought with a price and become slaves to the God who created us, a slave of love, love and a manifestation of all that he's doing in our lives? We are in a spot in America today where rules are being made up and challenging our churches. No doubt they are. But what mentality are we bringing to the table? A store-bought one? Oswald Chambers mentioned again and again, our claims to the rights of ourselves were crucified on the cross, and our rights to what we want. Are we bringing that to the table? Or are we bringing a blood-bought slave, sacrificed, God's love poured out upon our hearts, and we are enveloped by what he's doing, and that satisfies us? Our life in Jesus satisfies us. All that he is and all that he is doing satisfies us. Or are we in the 13th century, so spoiled by feeding on earthly things that we can't relish the love of God? That's tough questions today. I have a tendency to believe today, in this moment, in this hour, we're learning what's really valued. And people are going to need to see us value the presiding essence of God in our lives. The bought ones, the ones that have been bought with a price. God, help us in these days and these hours as our mentality changes. And what has been bred into us so long as normal now becomes unnormal, or not normal, abnormal. But that we would find the glorious wonders of the presence of God in our day. I pray for that. I pray that you realize today that you were bought with a price for him to do what he needs to in your lives. And the store-bought mentality doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in his kingdom. Are you bought? We are. We've been bought with a price, a love offering like no other that was to come and infect us and give us that stability and wonder of his presence. Well, we want to pray today. Before we do, I want to share with you a little chorus that comes. that comes to mind this morning. It's just a chorus of people who understand this. And it's called Change My Heart, O God. Change my heart, O God, make it ever true. Change my heart, O God, may I be like you. You are the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me. This is what I pray. Change my heart, O God, make it ever true. Change my heart, O God, may I be like you. We were bought with a price that changed everything. And I pray today that as Christians, that we would realize the store-bought mentality. You see what it's doing. Let it be a blood-bought mentality today, abiding in the presence of Christ in the moment and seeing his hand move. Those are good things. Well, I'd like to pray now, shall we? And ask God to bless us. Jesus, thank you for the blood-bought work of you, yourself, Jesus, that would come and pour out this love upon us that would alter the way we see things. And there is a battle going on, no doubt. And we need to understand, Jesus, the power of blood-bought Christianity, of abiding in you and what you paid for dearly to give us. Help us in our hour, Jesus, to become and to stand forth in the revelation. Help our people, Jesus, help your people today. Glorify yourselves in them. In your name I pray, Jesus. Well, God bless you. I trust you have a good day. Perhaps you've joined us and are seeking. This is him, he, Jesus is your answer. Call upon his name. Allow him to transform your sight and to become, one that bears eternal resemblance to Jesus in the hour. God bless you, folks. I pray that you have a good day in the Lord. Enjoy the sunshine and seek him and enjoy. I'll catch you tomorrow.